Hi everybody, what's going on? Welcome to Sit Down. I'm DJ Sixsmith. It is fight week for Claressa Shields. T-Rex in the building. How are you?
How you doing? I'm fine.
Thank you very much for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
You brought all your hardware too.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, WBC, IBF, WBA, two-time Olympic gold medalist.
You gotta have both. Hold them up again. Come on. There you go. Nobody's disputing that resume right there. We were talking off camera, so you will check one of these belts.
Yeah.
And that airport better not lose any of these belts.
Oh, please don't lose my belt. No. But I'm quite sure that if any of them ever did get lost at the, that the organizations would, they would, send me a new one, but I would like to keep the first one.
Definitely. No doubt about it. So it's a really big week for you because the fight's coming up on Saturday in Atlantic City, and people are talking about this fight being one of the biggest ever for women. So first of all, how have you prepared for this fight, and what are you most excited about?
Well, one, to get women's boxing to where it's at, I don't think we would be here without all my hard work. Like, I'm the one who had to take the big fights, the big challenges, even though people say, like, on paper, for majority of my fights, I've been the underdog. Like, I fought against girls 17-0, 18-1-1, girls who got a lot of knockouts and stuff. Now I'm fighting against Christina Hammer, 24-0, 11 knockouts, and just my 9th professional fight. And on paper, once again, I'm supposed to lose. But I've done a lot for women's boxing in just the last 2 years with Showtime, with being the main event, with me just fighting on TV and bringing all this attention to boxing. And not just because, I have 2 Olympic gold medals, but because I can fight. So that's one of the biggest things that I'm excited about. I'm excited about fighting. I love the media.
You just want to get in the ring already. Yeah.
I'm just ready to get in the ring because it's mano y mano, All that stuff she's been talking gets to come to a cease. Like, we finally get to fight, and that's where I show everything that I've been saying, but I show it 10 times, better with actions.
I think it's really interesting because, like you said, it's still really early on in your boxing career, but you still have all these big fights. So how have you been able to get to this point, just 9, 10 fights in?
First off, dedication, hard work, and prayer. Leading up to this fight, I believe in the 5 Ps. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. I know. I've been using it for years. That's a mouthful there, too. Yeah. And every fight, I just want to get better, and I push myself harder. This has been my hardest training camp ever. And I say that being to the Olympics twice and getting ready for both Olympics, we're training 3 times a day. This camp has been harder than that. With this being 10 rounds, with the opponent that I'm facing, with the style she has, we've put in a lot of work. And this has been an 8-week training camp. People know of me training for 6, but this has been 8. I gave myself a pre-camp, 2 weeks just to get back into motion. And then for 4.5 weeks, I went every day, twice a day, except Sunday.
Wow.
Working very, very hard and just not being comfortable. With my strength and my conditioning for this camp has been, amazing. And I went back to the Olympic Training Center to get ready. That's where I get ready for my biggest fights at. And I went back there just to add some more things. But for this camp, it's just one of the camps that I put 110% in. And if I don't win a fight, which I will, but I'm saying there's no reason that I shouldn't win.
Right, you're prepared.
Like if I don't win, she's just better than me, which she's not.
So I think it's really interesting because you're very intentional about the way you're going about things, but you're still learning about yourself as a boxer. So even in that last 8 weeks, how have you grown as a boxer? How have you grown as a person?
Well, my last fight was December 8th. Before then, it was November 17th. That's 3 weeks apart.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then I fought in June. So with that, I went 10 rounds with each girl. Being knocked down by Hannah Gabriels in the fight the first round that I, of course, got back up to win the rest of the rounds and win a unanimous decision, to beating Hannah Rankin 90-100, and to beating Femke Hermans 90-100 on the scorecards. And that's 30 rounds of competition. And with that 30 rounds, I've learned so much. I've learned that, one, I can get knocked down, get back up, still win a fight. I learned that I can go to the body without getting headbutted. I learned that I can throw more punches, and that's something that I was just like toying with, because I'm like, you want to be precise and you want to throw your combinations, but then again, you still want to pinpoint your shots. I learned that I can still pinpoint my shots and pick my shots, but also still be active and be more active than in my fight. So the fights you've seen, this fight I definitely will have a higher and faster pace because I know that I'm in great conditioning to do it. And I had to learn that about myself because coming from 168 to 160
it's a big change.
It was a little different for me.
Definitely. I think those are a lot of great learning lessons there. And, you know, thinking about your story, take me back to Flint because, you know, really wild story in terms of you growing up, getting into boxing. I mean, just take me through what it was like being a little girl growing up and getting into the whole sport.
Well, you know, born and raised in Flint, I was raised by my grandmother. And I met my dad was in prison from the age of 2 till 9. So I met my dad when I was 9. And, you know, from there, my mom, you know, she dealt with a few issues, you know, growing up. And just with that, I just became mentally tough, mentally angry at the same time. And it's like, I didn't choose boxing, boxing chose me.
Seems like it goes that way for a lot of people. Yeah,
it's one of those things where I asked my dad if he would sign me up for boxing because he told me a story about Muhammad Ali having a daughter named Layla who took after him. And I thought my dad was telling me he wanted me to take after him. My dad used to also be a boxer. I asked my dad could he sign me up. He said no. Boxing was a man's sport. Told me I was too pretty to box at the age of 11. And I can tell you, I am pretty and everything now. But at the age of 11, I did not think I was pretty.
That's
I thought
a lot
my nose,
to take in as an 11-year-old.
Yeah, I was like, what? Boxing was a man's sport, and I was too pretty to box. And at the age of 11, my nose was bigger than my whole face. So I was like, definitely not getting the cute radar too high up there. But I just felt like I was more of an athlete. So my dad changed his mind, signed me up. He thought I would get beat up and quit. That's what my dad told me. He said it. And once I started boxing, it's kind of like just a natural. I can just naturally fight. You know, I can naturally go to war.
Scrappy. Yeah,
and it's something that I enjoy, and it helped me grow mentally and of course physically, but mentally I got stronger. When I started boxing, I had serious anger problems. It's certain stuff you couldn't say, certain stuff you couldn't do to me, and I would just, you know, go 0 to 100 really, really fast. But now it taught me discipline. It taught me to pick my battles, and it taught me to just, you know, never let them see you sweat. You know, when it's times in adversity, that's where you show the most character. And even though people think you should be going crazy and throwing a fit, when you're sitting there like this and you're just looking at them, they're like, okay, now what? So that really helps me in a professional game when you have girls that talk trash, girls that, you know, tell lies on you. It really helps me now because I just sit there and look at them like this, like.
You have great poise. That's such a big part of it.
Great poker face.
Yeah, that's an important thing too. So when was the moment when you changed your dad's mind about being a real boxer?
You know, when my dad signed me up, he thought I would get beat up and quit. But my dad took me to the gym for the first couple of months. And then after that, I was walking back and forth to the gym, which is about like 2 miles apart. And my mom was not very strict on me, so I could do whatever I wanted to do.
You're doing your thing, yeah.
So I could walk to the gym, come back. I mean, I stayed out till 1 o'clock in the morning. My mom was like, hey, who at the door? And I'd be like, it's Muffin, and she'll let me in. Like, she never asked me any questions like, where were you? It's 2 o'clock in the morning. I just was like, she never was like hard on me. My mom was always like, yeah, Claressa's gonna do whatever she wanna do, so whatever. I believe at the age of 13, I was 4-0 with 3 TKOs, and I fought against a girl named Chloe Kimsey.
Oh, you still remember? Wow.
Yeah, Chloe Kimsey was, I still say, probably my toughest fight.
Really?
I
At
guess.
age 13?
13.
Wow.
She was a tough cookie. She was 4-0, 4 TKOs. And me and my dad were sitting there talking, and her mom and them were like in an aisle across from us, but we can definitely, you know, hear and see each other. And her mom says, Chloe, who's the girl you fighting? And Chloe looks at me and she goes, I'm fighting her. And her mom say, and what you gonna do to her? Her mom was an instigator.
Oh, wow.
And what you gonna do to her? She was like, I'm gonna knock her out. And when she said that, I was just looking at her, and my dad was looking at me, and I just was like, Dad, I gotta go get dressed. And he was like, baby, you okay? And I mean, like, I was like going crazy on the inside because I wanted to just grab her right then and there.
Just destroy her right there.
I wanted to go, oh man. And my dad like, baby, is you okay? I was like, I see you at the fight. And my dad never seen that in me before. Like, I went like cold, eyes red. I went and got dressed. And I beat Chloe up. I mean, I beat Chloe up. She was pretty tough.
Chloe had no chance. I mean, come on.
No, Chloe she was 4-0, 4 knockouts. This girl
But you were seeing red at that point.
Oh,
you were
yeah.
ready. Nobody was messing with you that day.
I'm like, I'm about to smoke her, and I'm about to do it. And I almost TKO'd her last round, but the ref was giving her an 8 count, and then the bell rang, and she was in the corner crying. She wasn't going to come back out after that 8 count. But the bell rang, so he was like, okay, the fight's over. Like, he didn't call it off. He like, just go back to your corner. And I was like, could have been
I'm sure Chloe's
KO.
mom was pretty quiet after that one.
Yeah, and when I got out the ring, my dad was teary-eyed. He's such a crybaby. He was teary-eyed, and he was like, baby, you the best boxer I've ever seen in my life. You box better than I box. I was like, thanks, Dad. And I was like, stop crying. He was like, he was emotional, and he was just like, I've never in my life seen a girl fight like that, and I can't believe that is my daughter. So my dad is super proud of me, and that's when he knew, like, he started telling everybody from the age of 13, like, my baby gonna win the Olympics.
That's awesome. So how do you get from that point at 13 to competing for the Olympics and then eventually winning 2 golds?
Oh man, focus. You know, I was an honors student when I was in school, and so I was a grade above all the other kids, and really my life was just going to school and boxing. But then there were other things too, you know, when you got the peer pressure and the street fights. I gave myself a curfew. I'm going to be in the house every day at 10 o'clock. I gave myself certain rules that I could not break. Like, one rule was like, you cannot be, I guess I'll say shacking up.
Right.
No, like no boyfriend, no smoking, no drinking.
Clean life.
Like, none of that. And then also being involved with church. And I was deeply in the church from the age 13 till 17. And now I kind of do like my own, you know, reading and stuff. But I was in church faithfully like every Sunday till then. And it's like it just kind of came, you know. We didn't know if I was old enough to go to the Olympics at the age of 16. But they ended up changing some rules, and I made the deadline, and I was able to fight in the last Olympic qualifier to qualify for the Olympic qualifier to qualify for that. And I won there. Then I was ranked number 7 in the country. Then we had a double elimination tournament at the Olympic trials. I won there, became number 1 for the USA, and that's how I was able to represent the United States, just by becoming number 1 and beating I beat the girl that's ranked number 1, girl ranked number 3, girl ranked number 2. I beat all of them, and that's how I got my spot at the age of 16 to go to the Olympics.
That's incredible. So which gold was tougher, first or second?
I gotta say the first one. 2012 was hard because I was 5'8" then, and I was like used to just getting in there and fighting girls who would stand in front of me, and I didn't have to worry about, I was always like the bigger girl, or like as far as in size difference, I was always taller. But now I'm fighting against older women who are stronger than me, taller than me, but nobody held the speed over me. But they were taller, they were stronger, and I was an unknown boxer. Like, I had never won a world championships, no Pan American Games. Only thing I had won was the Continental Championships. And so going to the Olympics, it was like everything was kind of stacked. It was stacked against me, but then I fought against a girl that was 6'2".
Wow.
I mean, her name Anna Laurel. I beat her, but man.
That's a tough one.
She was so tall, like my little short arms. You know, I was like, man, but I was able to get to her, and these girls were they thought they were smarter than me. So they were trying to outbox me and stay on the outside, but I was able to move my head, get on the inside,
with speed,
and you know, knock these girls around and really hurt them to the body. So the first one was definitely harder. But I had, the first girl I fought in the Olympics was the girl that was 6'2". She was my hardest fight then. But other than that, the girl I fought after that fight, I smoked her. And then I smoked the girl I fought in the Olympics. I mean, I fought in the finals from Russia. She was strong, but the girl from Russia
She wasn't having it. No.
No, she just wasn't on my level. But 2016 was completely different.
So how was it different?
It was easier. You know, I'm doing something that's never been done in USA boxing history.
For anybody.
There's no other boxer in
Yeah.
America that has 2 Olympic gold medals back to back for boxing. No male, just Claressa Shields.
That's awesome.
And going into this, people were telling me it's impossible for an American boxer to do this because it's never been done. So I'm just like, I'm trying to do something that people consider impossible. So every fight, 2016, I mean,
You were just rolling.
I really just ran through those girls. I got an inch taller. I got really stronger. I got faster, smarter. Those girls just couldn't handle me 2016. And this gold medal was, people told me it was going to be harder to win because it's hard to stay at the top.
Right.
But I think for me, it's easy to stay at the top because I'm just that good. So 2012 was definitely harder.
Yeah,
2016,
I get that.
walk in the park.
That's pretty remarkable, that whole story.
Yeah.
So when I look at your life, you've been through so much adversity. How have you been able to manage that, and how do you remain at the top through all this?
Oh, well, you know, just my life. I try to leave everything that happened in the past. You know, I don't carry those burdens around with me or be angry about them. I'm happy with where my life is. You know, even though I had to go through all those hardships, at the end of the day, I had learned something. I learned that nobody's going to take care of you, so you have to do what you have to do to take care of yourself. I learned that your decisions dictate your life, you know, regardless of people saying, oh, kids, you know, don't make choices for themselves. I moved out the house when I was 13.
Yeah, you grew up real quick.
I had to grow up really, really fast, and just with that, I made a lot of decisions for my life, and I also just listened to God's voice. You know, He gave me a lot of guidance, still to this day. And when He gives me guidance, I just do my best to follow His lead, even though sometimes I'm doing things I'm like, God, this
doesn't make sense. Yeah.
This don't feel right.
Right.
And He just like, I got it. And I just do my best to, you know, listen to Him. And this is where He have gotten me. So I'm going to continue to do that. But with boxing, it's just something I love. It's not really a job for me. It's more of a hobby. I mean, doing interviews and stuff is a job, sure.
Well, that's the fun part once you get in the ring.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing I love about this part of it is everything I say comes to fruition in the ring. So when you see me now, people say, oh, she's cocky, she's confident, whatever you want to call it. But when I get in the ring, I do what I said I was going to do.
Yeah.
I win. So it always is like pleasing to see this kind of stuff after and then be like, I said I would do it.
So people can look at you today, and you're a huge inspiration for a lot of people around the country. Who are people that inspire you, whether it's other women in sports or just other people in general?
You know what? A lot of celebrities do inspire me, and I can just start with, I mean, first one that comes to mind is Kevin Hart. He's from Philadelphia. He's a comedian, but his whole life story about, you know, how he had, you know, got booed off stage, how he wasn't great at comedy at first, but it's just something he loved to do. Now he, you know, owns his own production company.
He's selling out stadiums, I mean.
Making movies.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so much he's doing, but look at how he started and where he's from. Serena Williams.
A great one. Yeah.
I'm not a fan of her personality, but as far as her being a great athlete, she's one of the top, best athletes, hands down. And she set a great example of how to be dominant in a sport. And when I see that she's been on top for so long and how she can bounce back from a loss and she comes back and win the Wimbledons and win all these cups and everything, it just shows like if you work hard or if you put your mind to something that you can do it. Like her to even come back after having her baby and then
amazing, yeah.
She didn't win, but I mean to make it that close is just like that's phenomenal. So I really admire her as an athlete. LeBron James doing a lot of great things.
Yeah.
He got the Promise School going on. I mean, he's just a great advocate, you know, just for, you know, African Americans and just for kids in general. And then it's so many. I can give you so many.
How about Halle Berry? I mean, that's your girl there too.
Halle Berry is a great actress, but I don't know about her life personally.
True. It's only been like you've only met her in passing, right?
Yeah, she's coming to the fight.
Oh, she is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, she's great. But then also too, I have to think about. It was one more person I was about to say. Who was it?
Sports, entertainment.
It was sports.
Okay. Man, woman.
I think it was a girl.
I mean, you got a pretty good list right there.
Yeah, I mean, there's people who I look up to, and
Sure.
I think that really people who I more gravitate to, people that come up with, oh, here we go. It wasn't a female, it was a male. Meek Mills.
Oh, yeah.
The rapper.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, he rapping stuff, but his whole reform movement that he got going on, his, you know, he went to jail and everything and had the crooked judge. And I mean, it's just crazy stuff, but even his upbringing, he started off doing battle raps on YouTube. Like, now he's selling out albums, making millions of dollars, has a reform thing going on that, you know, he's trying to bring more attention to people being falsely accused and being put in jail, the police brutality, and stuff like that is just people who I admire who can stand for something when people, you can use your voice for something, you know, and people try to use, you know, negative stuff sells, you know, and I don't know why it sells more than positive things do, but people who still continue to be positive and find a way to give knowledge back to those coming up are great people to me. So those are people that I, you know, truly admire.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing. You're in a position you can use your platform now and impact the next generation. So
exactly.
It's an awesome thing. So when we check out the fight on Saturday, what do you want people to think when they see you in the ring?
Ooh, I want them to think I wouldn't want to mess with her. You know, that's my whole thing. Like, I don't mind the whole being beautiful and being cute and all this stuff. All right, cool. I take the compliment graciously. But what I want you to think about mostly with me is, can she fight? And I know that I can fight. So I like to have that respect of being a fighter because boxing is my life. That's my job. That's my hobby. That's what I do. So more of after Saturday or like during Saturday, I want them to, you know, think things of, look how fast she is, look how smart she is, look how strong she is. And then, I mean, to have so much of them think these things, but then also, how about you, you know, how about you throw a little, how would she do against Canelo? How would she do against Triple G?
Yeah.
I want to perform so well that they have these thoughts in their mind, like, yeah, she's a woman, but she can really fight, and then my next fight will be bigger. So I'm just ready to perform and put on a great display for women's boxing to show them that not only men are great boxers, but I was a woman myself, was born to be a fighter, and I can outperform a lot of men.
And she's not afraid of anybody. It is The Shield versus the Hammer, Saturday night on Showtime. Claressa, thank you so much.
No
Great
problem.
to meet you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next time here on The Sit Down.